right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Make sure you check out Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in Northern California. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in Marin from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday in Emeryville. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. All right, well, we're going to see a bunch of battles this summer, but maybe the most fierce battle is a battle that we don't see in the summer, but the battle that we see in the regular season. And I know, it's a team and everybody's pulling the rope in the same direction. And I'm not trying to cause any kind of a rift. I'm just acknowledging the reality of the 49ers situation when it comes to the cap. They probably won't be able to keep long-term Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel on the same football team. And ultimately, it may come right down to which guy plays better this year as far as their approach to who do they want to go long-term with. Do they want to go long-term with Deebo? Do they want to go long-term with Aiyuk? Now, if they both had huge years, the cap is the cap. It can be, it can be massaged and maneuvered around, and you could theoretically keep Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk and just make cuts elsewhere. So it's not truly, one of these, hey, it's him or me, and it can't be both of us. It could be both. It could be both Aiyuk and Deebo if they so choose. But let's look at last year. Deebo had 13 games played. He carried the ball 42 times for 232 yards, 5.5 yards per carry. He scored 3 rushing touchdowns. He also fumbled 3 times and lost 2 of them. And Brandon Aiyuk played 17 games. He caught 78 footballs on 114 targets. Deebo played 13 games, caught 56 balls on 94 targets. So, Deebo wound up with 632 receiving yards. Brandon Aiyuk with 1,015 receiving yards. Brandon Aiyuk had 8 receiving touchdowns. Deebo only had 2 receiving touchdowns. So they're different players, okay? And yet, which one's going to be here long term? Which one's not? Will they both be here? It's interesting. If Demo Lenore was asked, hey, who's been the most impressive receiver in camp? And he didn't hesitate. He's like, without even thinking, he's like, Brandon Aiyuk. So on one level, Aiyuk, you can see is taking it to a different level, as far as his level of play. If you're a 49er fan, by the way, what these guys are saying is like music to your ears. Brandon Aiyuk is like, I'm a rocket ship about to take off. And Deebo was like, I sucked last year. I was terrible. I was awful. Deebo, how can you say that? You're one of the better players in the league. What part of your game were you not good at? All of it. Yeah, that's what he said. And he meant it. He's like, I sat down with Shanahan. We went over my tape. I looked sluggish. I didn't run my routes. I didn't do this. I didn't catch it consistently. I mean, he was very, very critical. And Aiyuk is like, hey, man, I'm getting ready for takeoff. So what do the Niners have this year? They have something that's truly exciting. And that is that their 2 best wide receivers are both in that mindset like the best is yet to come. Like Deebo's like, hey, man, I'm going to be way better this year than last year. And he seems like he means it. And Aiyuk, when he says I'm ready to take off, he sounds like he means it. So, Juwan Jennings, by the way, is also a free agent at the end of the year. So he's incredibly motivated. Ray McLeod and Danny Gray, their spots are not guaranteed at all. So they're incredibly motivated. Ronnie Bell and Tay Martin are NFL caliber possession receivers who maybe are even better than that. They don't have a for sure spot on the roster, so they're motivated. So to me, what I'm seeing is an extremely motivated and talented wide receiver room with some of the NFL's best talents. Now, I don't know where I would group or rank, I should say, Aiyuk and Deebo and this wide receiver core. There's a couple combos that are better for sure. But it's a damn good combo. Kyle Shanahan loves Deebo Samuel. And the one thing about Deebo is that Deebo's tough. And Deebo's a tone setter. And Deebo is a guy that, this guy, he leads the Niners out of the locker room. He leads them on the field. He's the guy who wants to deal out punishment. He's, in a lot of ways, the Niners' physical identity on offense is tied to the physical play of Deebo Samuel. So in many ways, he's a defining player. There's good players, there's bad players, then there's tone-setting players. And to me, the tone-setting players are gold. You can't have enough of them. It's hard to set the tone in pro football in the NFL. It is hard. You have to be special to be a tone setter. And just because you're the best player doesn't mean you're a tone setter. Alex Boone was a tone setter. Dante Whitner was a tone setter. What it takes is ridiculous stubbornness, toughness, swagger, confidence. These players are golden. And when you find a tone-setting player, Ronnie Lott was a tone setter. Tone setter. John Taylor was a tone setter. William Barnum Floyd was a tone setter. These guys are tough, and they're leaders. Tom Rathman was a tone-setting fullback. It's hard to find tone setters, and that's what Deebo is. He is a tone setter. So in a way, I think he's more valuable. But then I look at you can either run around or you can run through, and Deebo would rather run through. And if you run through guys, your career is typically not as long as the guys who run around. I love and admire the guys who run through you because they're tone setters, but the reality is they don't last as long. So if you ask me who's more likely to be more productive over the next 5 years, Deebo or Aiyuk, I'd probably take Aiyuk. Aiyuk is 6 feet, maybe 6'1", but he's got long arms, so he plays like he's 6'3" or 6'4". He doesn't fear running across the middle at all. He catches the ball with his hands. In many ways, he's the Niners' best receiver. I think he's got the best combination of running, ball skills, hands. He can run all the routes. He's trustworthy. You can go to him repeatedly. I mean, and when I say Deebo's tough, this guy's tough too. He's just not quite like Deebo. Deebo's seriously like a fullback or a running back playing wide receiver. Aiyuk's just a damn tough wide receiver with long arms, strong hands, and no fear. There ain't no tiptoeing across the middle with Brandon Aiyuk. He doesn't fear the safety. He doesn't fear getting starched by a defensive player. He plays with tremendous courage. So I don't know how it's going to go this year. I really don't. I don't know if Aiyuk's going to have the bust out, the banner year, or if Deebo's going to have his best year. But I'll say this. When I heard Aiyuk say, I'm getting ready for takeoff, and I heard Deebo say, I sucked last year, and I'm going to be a whole lot better, as a 49er fan, that's exciting. You're talking about two of the most skilled, talented players on your football team, and they both are motivated and hell-bent to get better. That's a great place to be. That is a great spot to be in. And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. I think Deebo is gonna fire off a huge year. And let's be honest. I mean, part of these guys kind of know the deal too, and they're not naive. These guys are not rookies. They've been around the block. They know it's the hard capped NFL. There's no endless budget for, pay everybody. No, you got to make decisions. And they know the 49ers are probably going to have to make a decision. Do they go forward with Aiyuk or do they go forward with Deebo? They're going to try to make sure that the answer is at the end of the year, the Niners are going forward with both, because both guys just are coming off of monster years. And let's play it out there. If Deebo has a monster year and Aiyuk has a monster year, especially with all the weapons this team has, Kittle, McCaffrey, all the young guys, 49ers are likely a Super Bowl team. All right, hope you enjoyed our video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. And thanks to all of you for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.